I will make this look a lot easier than it really is. I always start at the wrist. You can start anywhere you want. Actually, I take that back. You can't start anywhere you want, because you must wrap from distal to proximal. Why do you do that? The reason why you do that is because you insanguinate the limb. You push insanguinate. You're pushing edema, swelling, blood out of the limb. That's what you want to do. Okay? I start at the wrist, though. I do not start at the fingers. I will start simply at the wrist, and I will catch. Now I've got it locked. Now, web roll goes on as tight as you can make it. Because if you go too tight, it tears right off. As tight as I can make this is how tight this goes on. The other thing you'll notice as I put this on, I always keep him pronated. I keep his wrist in the position I need it to be in, which is what? 15 degrees of dorsiflexion. I will always pad a little bit. See how he's straightening out? I'll correct him. I'm always correcting as I'm rolling. I will always pad a little bit higher on my parameters because I don't want plaster against the patient. See he's supinating too? You can see his palm. Okay? See that? Your friend, your partner, who you think's going to help you, is going to screw you. More times than you think. The other thing I'm doing is a 50% overlap. Every time. Remember, 2 finger breadths below the antecubital space. So I go a little bit. Oh, that's almost perfect. Every time it rips, and I see you rip it, I'm going to walk right behind you, and I'm going to say, that's almost perfect. Because it is. That's pulling it tight.
Oh. More web roll.
Oh, man. All right. Lift him up. See, supinating again. Already. There you go. You got to be on it. It affects your grade. So basically what I do is I make sure he keeps his elbow down, and I roll as far as I can. And then I start to roll back up. One thing that you're missing, people, is on this back side, on the dorsum side, I'm actually tearing the web roll a little bit, making it roll with me.
Is there a reason that you do so many layers at the very bottom?
Yes, because it's the border of the splint or cast. You always want to make sure that the border, anywhere where there's going to be, it's going to be up against skin, like right here, my plaster will come down a little bit lower, and I want that padded edge so that when he moves his hand, he doesn't hit plaster or fiberglass, he's hitting padding. Same thing here. It's going to be digging up. You don't want this skin hitting plaster or fiberglass. Now, why does it have to be so long? I'm only trying to control the wrists. Now, you're going to hear this for the rest of your career, people. People are always asking me, if it's just my hand, why does it have to go all the way to here? Well, here's your answer to tell them. It does not benefit them to make it to here. You need the lever arm because the shorter I make it, the more wrist movement they get. Picture this. I got something on my wrist that only goes to here. I try to move my wrist. See my palm kind of moving up and down? That's what happens. The longer this gets, the harder it is to move that wrist. Also, it must go on top of the muscle belly. On top of your muscle belly. The widest part of your arm is where it's got to end. Because you don't want skin draping over the splint. Does that make sense? All right. Now that I've padded him up, ooh, I got a bald spot. That's not me. I know I don't do that. So I will go back and give him a little extra padding right there.
Did Did you do that deliberately to shows?
Huh?
Did you do that?
No, I did not. I did not. You won't see that again.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing. It's an easy fix. Okay? It's not bad at all. What is bad, that arm, is this. We're going to let him supinate. I'm not going to really, let's see, I don't roll bad web roll. It's hard for me to do it. This is bad. Okay? Loose. Wrinkled. I don't want wrinkles. Okay? A wrinkle here puts a wrinkle in your plaster or your fiberglass. All right? Wrinkles irritate them. They can cause pressure sores, cause nerves to go out. Things you don't want. Things that put you in court. It's very rare, but it can happen. All right? Now I'm going to measure. Plaster likes to shrink when you dip it in water. I'm going to measure up a little bit high. I'm going to make a cut in the same angle as his metacarpal phalangeal joint. Metacarpal phalangeal joint, angles down like that. That's what I'm creating right there. Okay? But what am I going to do with my thumb? I got to get the thumb to move. Thumb's not supposed to be a part of this. So I simply cut an area for the thumb. Okay? Now this is a 5x30 splint. Some people have very small arms. Some people with big arms. With him, I could get away with a 4-inch. 4 inches wide. But I'm going to go ahead and use the 5x30. But just to FYI, if I needed to make it thinner for a smaller arm, I would simply, and it makes a mess, take an inch off. See how messy it gets?
Yeah. Please don't do that.
My glasses when I do that. But if you got to do what you got to do. It's going to be really tough to take a pair of scissors and do it. But if you are going to do it, try to do it over a trash can, because look at the mess. I mean, it gets really, really bad. Pair of gloves.
Or just use a 4-inch roll and roll back and forth.
That's the other option you got. You can just take a 4-inch roll, and I could just make it as long as I want. But the problem with this is I got to count.
I'd rather you do that than do that, because we're going to clean that up and it just stays. You can mop, and as soon as it dries, the whole floor is all white.
Yeah, he's right. It leaves a messy lab. It definitely does. But I'm not the one that cleans it. You guys are the ones that clean it, see? So
Don't get clean, he'll make you stay.
that's true. We stay.